Hello, Journeyers of the Galaxy. Welcome on back to part 3 of the Mass Effect 1 Legendary Edition playthrough. My name is Josh Sandwich. Thank you all so much for stopping back in. Last time out, we completed our, well, I say completed, in quotation marks, our mission on Eden Prime. We destroyed the Prothean beacon. The colony itself was attacked by Geth. Overall, a catastrophic failure, in my opinion, but we saw a vision in the beacon itself. So now we are quite an important asset. We're on our way back to the Citadel to report our findings to the Galactic Council. We're basically going to have to report what the hell happened on that planet because thanks to the involvement of a rogue Spectre by the name of Saren, things pretty much went tits up. But that will come a little bit later. What is that? TLX DO8 WXM80. Wonder what that is. We are actually going to take the opportunity, now that we're back at the ship, to do a little bit of catch up with the crew. We're going to speak to everyone first, and then we're going to do a little bit of lore dump in the codex. We've got quite a bit of reading to go through, both primary and secondary. So we're going to do a little bit of that in today's part. But first off, hello, Ashley Williams. Welcome to the Normandy. How are you doing?
I'm glad you're okay, Commander. The crew could use some good news after what happened to Jenkins.
Soldiers, nah, you'll be missed.
Jenkins was a valuable part of this crew.
Part of me feels guilty over what happened. If Jenkins was still alive, I might not be here.
You earned it, Williams.
You're a good soldier, Williams. You belong on the Normandy.
Thanks, Commander. I appreciate that.
Things were pretty rough down there. Are you okay?
I've seen friends die before. Comes with being a Marine. But to see my whole unit wiped out, and you never get used to seeing dead civilians. But things would have been a lot worse if you hadn't shown up.
The mission failed. To put it in brass tacks, actually, the mission went tits up. You did help, but the mission failed. Could we combine these two together? No. You helped.
Couldn't have done it without you, Williams.
Thanks.
Yeah, we couldn't have failed without you, Williams.
I have to admit, I was a little worried about being assigned to the Normandy. It's nice when someone makes you feel welcome.
Glad to have you.
I think you're gonna fit in here just fine, Williams.
Thanks, Commander.
You're welcome. So yeah, we're doing that. We're taking every opportunity we can to kind of hoard our Paragon points as much as possible. Speaking of, Alright, we don't have any points yet. That's fine. Let's go and talk to Dr. Chakwas. Hello.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
Yes, I'd like to do a wee bit of investigation about you. Consider this an examination of your time on the Normandy.
How did you end up serving on an Alliance ship?
I enlisted right out of med school. Earth always seemed boring to me. Too safe, too secure. I figured the colonies were teeming with exotic adventure. I wanted to travel the stars, tending the wounds of tough soldiers with piercing eyes and sensitive souls. Turns out military life isn't quite as romantic as I'd imagined. But humanity needs the Alliance if we want to keep expanding through the Traverse, and the Alliance always needs good doctors. So I stayed on to do my part.
I mean, a very, very romanticized fantasy of military life. Clearly it's not going to be anything like that, but if you can stick to that, hopefully it makes your time in the Alliance a little bit easier for you, Chakwas. Any regrets about joining?
Ever think you made the wrong choice?
Sometimes I think about opening a private practice back on Earth. Or maybe taking a position at one of the new med centers out in the colonies. But there's something special about working on soldiers. If I left the Alliance now, I'd feel like I was abandoning them.
What do you know about Captain Anderson?
I've served with him for a few tours now. He knows when to let things slide and when to crack the whip. The crew knows he's seen pretty much anything they'll ever run into. And he cares about the people under his command.
He's a good leader. A very good leader. A lot of people can look up to him, including our own Josh Shepard.
How well do you know the lieutenant?
I'd never worked with him before this mission. But he has an impressive service record. Over a dozen special commendations. Tends to keep to himself, though. Maybe because of the headaches. It's not easy being an L2.
Oh. Another little bit of lore. What's an L2?
What does that have to do with it?
Well, most biotics now use the L3 implants. Lieutenant Alenko was wired with the old L2 configuration. Sometimes there are complications.
What kind of complications?
Severe mental disabilities, insanity, crippling physical pain. There's a long list of horrific...
Yeah, little side effects.
Caden's lucky. He just gets migraines.
Alright, that's everything. Right, thanks for that. Yeah, that sounds awful. Being wired up. I wonder what an L1 would have been like.
I should go.
Yeah, you thought L2 was bad? Jesus. Hey, Caden.
Glad to see you're okay, Commander.
Oh, can we not have a...
Glad to see you're okay, Commander.
Can we not have a talk? Okay, okay. I see how it is. That's fine, that's fine. We'll talk later then, yeah? Good talk, good talk. Take a little walk up here. I love exploring the Normandy. There's so many little like nooks and crannies, little details. I'm wondering, like, is this like a stasis area? This is something that I never actually got. If someone in the comment section knows what this area is, let me know. I always thought it was like a stasis area, maybe like an extension of the med bay. Probably not. But it's just always something I kind of thought it was. Get a little look in here. Oh, captain's quarters.
Go speak to Joker when you're ready. Tell him to bring the Normandy into dock.
I'm going to stare at this screen. Okay, Captain. I'll stare at this screen. You can crouch in Normandy like it. Oh, you can't walk though. Okay then. I think at this point now though, it is now time for us to do a little bit of lore diving. Yes, yes, I know you're all just as excited as I am, so strap in, folks. We got some reading to get through, so I'll put my reading voice on. I'll try and give you some dulcet tones as we go through the codex. We'll start off with the primary stuff here, and we'll work our way through, and then we'll read up on the secondary stuff as well. So let's begin.
Roughly 1,200 years ago, the Turians were invited to join the Citadel Council to fulfill the role of galactic peacekeepers. The Turians have the largest fleet in Citadel space, and they make up the single largest portion of the Council's military forces. As their territory and influence has spread, the Turians have come to rely on the Solarians for military intelligence and the Asari for diplomacy. Despite a somewhat colonial attitude towards the rest of the galaxy, the ruling hierarchy understands they would lose more than they would gain if the other two races were ever removed. Turians come from an autocratic society that values discipline and possesses a strong sense of personal and collective honor. There is lingering animosity between Turians and humans over the First Contact War of 2157, which is known as the Relay 314 incident to the Turians. Officially, however, the two species are allies, and they enjoy civil, if cool, diplomatic relations.
Okay. So I believe the First Contact War happened 30 years previous to the start of this game. Hopefully we'll find out some of the details on that, because the details in my own mind are a bit sketchy, so I'm looking forward to hopefully reading up some more on that. But yeah, so the Turians essentially are the military might of the council races, being the most strategic race. Very, there's like a strict sort of hierarchy to their race, with castes and stuff. Very military focused as well. Very cool though, very cool. I know that we will get more in this section as we discover more races. Right now the Turians are the only one we've really discovered. Let's have a look at the extinct races.
50,000 years ago, the Protheans were the only spacefaring species in the galaxy. They vanished in a swift galactic extinction. Only the legacy of their empire remains. They are believed to have built the mass relays and the Citadel, which have allowed numerous species to explore and expand throughout the galaxy. Prothean ruins are found on worlds across the galaxy. While surprisingly intact for their age, functioning examples of Prothean paleotechnology are rare. Time and generations of looters have picked their dead cities and derelict stations clean. Some believe the Protheans meddled in the evolution of younger races. The Hanar homeworld of Kajay, for example, shows clear evidence of former Prothean occupation. The presence of a former Prothean observation post on Mars has caused a rebirth of interventionary evolutionists among humans. These individuals believe the god myths of ancient civilizations are misremembered encounters with aliens.
I mean, so this last paragraph here kind of interests me, like with the history of humanity, you know, like, and spacefaring aliens visiting and things like that. it could be believed that it would have been possibly the Protheans that were there, like observing Earth from Mars, or observing the Milky Way, so to speak, from Mars. But who knows? With it being 50,000 years ago, like who knows? Like, why weren't any advancements made with humanity back then? Or maybe just the Protheans were just only studying. Could have been. Let's have a look at non-council races.
The Geth are a humanoid race of networked AIs. They were created by the Quarians 300 years ago as tools of labor and war. When the Geth showed signs of self-evolution, the Quarians attempted to exterminate them. The Geth won the resulting war. This example has led to legal, systematic repression of artificial intelligences in galactic society. The Geth possess a unique distributed intelligence. An individual has rudimentary animal instincts, but as their numbers and proximity increase, the apparent intelligence of each individual improves. In groups, they can reason, analyze situations, and use tactics, as well as any organic race. Geth space is located at the trailing end of the Perseus Arm, beyond the lawless Terminus Systems. The Perseus Veil, an obscuring dark nebula of opaque gas and dust, lies between their space and the Terminus Systems.
So they're essentially like an isolated race. Well, until now. But this goes to show, like, yeah, it's the horror stories when creating AI. Systematic like execution of the Geth once AI seemed to become apparent, but obviously the Quarians failed in their attempt to do so, with the Geth winning it. But that then caused a galaxy-wide panic and systematic banning of AI as a result. A lot of sci-fi lore, whether it be Mass Effect, I keep doing comparisons over to Warhammer, so I've got very limited knowledge, but it's the one that I'm looking at this moment in time, so my mind keeps going back to it. During the golden age of technology and that, humanity obviously created AIs, and the Men of Iron is like kind of similar to the Geth. Actually, there is kind of comparisons here. The Men of Iron and Warhammer were created as like a labor and armed force for humans. Eventually, growing enough intelligence, they rebelled. And it caused a catastrophic war that splintered humans' empiric reign across the galaxy, and basically reduced at least Earth, or Terra as it's known in Warhammer, back to like a definitely pre-Golden Age sort of way of just warring tribes and things like that for a long time. And AI is obviously considered heresy in the Warhammer universe as a result as well. So there's definitely a lot of comparisons that can be drawn, but it's definitely a story that's quite synonymous with sci-fi and a whole, like AI rebelling. I mean, look at Terminator. That's probably one of the most famous root causes of it, like an AI getting 5 seconds on the internet and deciding, yep, right, humanity's got to go. Okay, let's have a little look here at non-sapient creatures, aliens.
After the Geth secure a location, they round up and impale dead and living bodies on mechanical spikes. The spikes rapidly transform these victims into withered husks, extracting water and trace minerals, and replacing them with cybernetics. The cybernetics reanimate the lifeless flesh and tissue, transforming the bodies into mindless killing machines. Some Alliance soldiers refer to the husk-generating spikes as dragon's teeth, a reference to the mythological berserkers who sprang up from the earth wherever the teeth of the dragon Eris were planted. Dragon's teeth and husks bear little resemblance to other pieces of Geth technology. No one is sure why a synthetic race would bother to drain the minuscule amount of recoverable resources from organic corpses, though the value of reusing them as shock troops is obvious.
Basically creating an army of shock troopers, overwhelming people with numbers, and it would be terrifying to an enemy as well, to whoever the Geth are facing as well, because obviously the husks are former members of that race, whoever that is that they're facing. So quite a terrifying enemy for sure. They're pushovers, at least in this one. But terrifying nonetheless, their design. The thing that I always wonder though is at what point does the cybernetics come into it, because I get that it's draining the body of trace fluids, water, minerals, all that sort of stuff. at what point does the spike actually, do the cybernetics just come out of the spike and go into the bodies? You know, like that's something that I've always wondered, like where does that come into it? But anyway, yeah, we'll be seeing more of the husks as we move on. Let's have a look here at Citadel and Galactic Government.
Citadel is an ancient deep space station, presumably constructed by the Protheans. Since the Prothean extinction, numerous species have come to call the Citadel home. It serves as the political, cultural, and financial capital of the galactic community. To represent their interests, most species maintain embassies on the Presidium, the Citadel's inner ring. The Citadel Tower in the center of the Presidium holds the Citadel Council Chambers. Council affairs often have far-reaching effects on the rest of the galactic community. 5 arms, known as the Wards, extend from the Presidium. Their inner surfaces have been built into cities, populated by millions of inhabitants from across the galaxy. The Citadel is virtually indestructible. If attacked, the station can close its arms to form a solid, impregnable shell. For as long as the station has existed, an enigmatic race called the Keepers has maintained it.
Okay, again, another example here of just utilizing things that have been left behind by the previous race, the Protheans, believing this to be of Prothean design, and just kind of inhabiting it, you know? It's obviously modifications and stuff will have been made over the ages, but again, the wariness has to come into play here when and a species just goes straight up extinct and they're as powerful as the Protheans seem to have been. Why, like, I would take everything with a pinch of salt, you know, and I wouldn't, like this race here that they explain called the Keepers have been there and maintained it. Why weren't they made extinct, you know, like, things like that. Questions, but no answers yet. We will find out, though. Oh.
Specters are agents from the Office of Special Tactics and Reconnaissance, and answer only to the Citadel Council. They are elite military operatives, granted the authority to deal with threats to peace and stability in whatever way they deem necessary. They operate independently or in groups of 2 or 3. Some are empathetic peacekeepers, resolving disputes through diplomacy. Others are cold-blooded assassins, ruthlessly dispatching problem individuals. All get the job done one way or another, often operating outside the bounds of galactic law. The Specters were founded after the Solarians joined the Council. For many years they operated in secrecy as backroom problem solvers. Only after the Krogan rebellions did their activities become publicized. Assignment of a Specter is less contentious than a military deployment, but makes it clear that the Council is concerned about a situation.
Okay. They're basically like the council's arm, in a sense. Been able to, like it said, operate outside the law. You've got some that will approach things in a peaceful way, others cold-blooded, ruthless. It just depends on what sort of Spectre you're going to need to get the job done. But they prove results, and like it said there, yeah, like having a Spectre there definitely shows that, well, it could be of galactic importance. Alright, we've got humanity in the systems, planets and locations, tech, weapons, armor, and equipment to go through. And then we've got some secondary lore to go through as well. Let's keep going. I hope you're enjoying this so far. Like, it's really good listening to this sort of stuff and just learning more about the Mass Effect universe. This won't make up, obviously, all the parts. We'll probably do a part like this every so often. Every few parts. Like, once we go back to the ship, we'll do a part like this, you know, in between, like, major missions.
Humanity's first contact with an alien race occurred in 2157. At that time, the Alliance allowed survey fleets to activate any dormant mass relays discovered, a practice considered dangerous and irresponsible by Council-aligned races. When a Turian patrol discovered a human fleet attempting to activate a relay, they attacked. One human vessel survived, retreating to the colony of Shanxi. The Turians followed, quickly defeating the local forces. Shanxi was occupied, the first and to date only human world to be conquered by an alien species. The Turians believed the handful of ships they defeated represented the bulk of human defenses, so they were unprepared when the Second Fleet, under Admiral Castany Drescher, launched a strong counteroffensive, evicting them from Shanxi. The Turians mobilized for full-scale war, drawing the attention of the rest of the galaxy. The Council quickly intervened, forcing a truce. Fortunately for humanity, the First Contact War was ended with a diplomatic solution.
Which, again, good. Because at that point, and I think still, humanity would not have been prepared to take on the Turians at their full might. The Turians are the military arm of the galaxy, you know. To go up against them would be a death sentence for any species, I think. At least any known species. But that's interesting. So, mass... So... The Alliance, sorry, I'm just reading up on this. The Alliance allowed survey fleets to activate any dormant mass relays discovered. And apparently this practice is considered dangerous and irresponsible by Council-aligned races. Okay, so that's why they fired upon the humans. I wonder why find it dangerous? Maybe because it's like each one could potentially go somewhere that is dangerous or allow something through from another part of the galaxy? Possibly?
The Systems Alliance is an independent supranational government representing the interests of humanity as a whole. The Alliance is responsible for the governance and defense of all extrasolar colonies and stations. The Alliance grew out of the various national space programs as a matter of practicality. Sol's planets had been explored and exploited through piecemeal national efforts. The expense of colonizing entire new solar systems could not be met by any one country. With humans knowing that alien contact was inevitable, there was enough political will to jointly fund an international effort. Still, the Alliance was often disregarded by those on Earth until the First Contact War. While the national governments dithered and bickered over who should lead the effort to liberate Shanxi, the Alliance fleet struck decisively. Post-war public approval gave the Alliance the credibility to establish its own parliament and become the galactic face of humanity.
So that basically played into their favor. Although it's something that they prepped for, so obviously maybe they weren't wanting it to be that way, but it gave them the foothold that they needed to become the face of humanity. So, all's well that ends well, eh? Not really. People died, but, you know, Alliance, all that. Alright, planets and locations.
The Terminus Systems are located on the far side of the Attican Traverse, beyond the space administered by the Citadel Council or claimed by the Human Systems Alliance. It is populated by a loose affiliation of minor species, united only in their refusal to acknowledge the political authority of the Council or adhere to the Citadel conventions. Their independence comes at a price. The Terminus is fraught with conflict. War among the various species is common, as governments and dictators constantly rise and fall. The region is a haven for illegal activities, particularly piracy and the slave trade. At least once a year, a fleet from the Terminus invades the nearby Attican Traverse. These attacks are typically small raids against poorly defended colonies. The Council rarely retaliates, as sending patrols into the Terminus systems could unify the disparate species against their common foe, triggering a long and costly war.
So in a sense, their hands are tied. They want to avoid a war, but at the cost. Colonies are suffering as a result. Once a year? God's sake. I wonder if that's like a wake-up call, though, to these colonies that exist in the Attican Traverse, because it's right on the border of the Terminus systems to, like, well, if they can properly defend themselves and have the might to do it. But I know that costs money, and not a lot of colonies are obviously able to get said money. And a lot of them are just farmers, you know, so it's like they're not exactly going to pose much of a fight, which sucks. But yeah, the Terminus systems are very cool, though. Very cool to traverse. We won't be seeing much of them in this game, but we will be seeing more of it in 2, which I am looking forward to seeing. But that is obviously a story for another time. Let's have a look at technology.
Biotics is the ability of rare individuals to manipulate dark energy and create mass effect fields through the use of electrical impulses from the brain. Intense training and surgically implanted amplifiers are necessary for a biotic to produce mass effect fields powerful enough for practical use. The relative strength of biotic abilities varies greatly among species and with each individual. There are 3 branches of biotics: Telekinesis uses mass-lowering fields to levitate or impel objects. Mass-raising kinetic fields are used to block or pin objects. Spatial distortion uses rapidly shifting mass fields to shred objects. Most organic species are capable of developing biotic abilities, though there are risks involved. Biotics are the result of an in utero exposure to element 0. This usually causes fatal cancers in the victim, but in rare cases, it coalesces into nodules within the fetus's developing nervous system.
So in a sense, you basically run a lottery when you're exposed. You could either be born with fatal cancers, not be born at all, your parent obviously suffering the brunt of it, or you could quote-unquote win the Element 0 lottery, have this embedded into your nervous system and become a biotic. We know that Caden is a biotic that's implanted with an L2 surgically implanted amplifier. I know that, well, obviously we're playing as a biotic as well. I'm wondering if we'll ever find out, like, do we have said thing as well? Are we L3, L2, you know? I'd more than likely say L3, just due to the nature of it being like, oh, like, they're a lot easier to control and all that sort of stuff. Alright, last tab of primary for now. Weapons, armor, and equipment.
Hard suits use a dual-layer system to protect the wearer. The inner layer consists of fabric armor with kinetic padding. Areas that don't need to be flexible, such as the chest or shins, are reinforced with sheets of lightweight, ablative ceramic. The outer layer consists of automatically generated kinetic barriers. Objects traveling above a certain speed will trigger the barrier's reflex system and be deflected, provided there is enough energy left in the shield's power cell. Armored hard suits are sealable to protect the wearer from extremes of temperature and atmosphere. Standard equipment includes an onboard mini-frame and a communications, navigation, and sensing suite. The mini-frame is designed to accept and display data from a weapon's smart targeting system to make it easier to locate and eliminate enemies.
Okay. Body armor. It protects you. The layman's terms with Josh Sandwich, you know, just in case the description overwhelms you at all. Alright, let's have a look at kinetic barriers.
More commonly called shields, provide protection against most mass accelerator weapons. Whether on a starship or a soldier's suit of armor, the basic principle remains the same. Kinetic barriers are repulsive mass effect fields, projected from tiny emitters. These shields safely deflect small objects traveling at rapid velocities. This affords protection from bullets and other dangerous projectiles, but still allows the user to sit down without knocking away their chair. The shielding afforded by kinetic barriers does not protect against extremes of temperature, toxins, or radiation.
Yeah, it protects against kinetic elements coming at you at rapid speed. Imagine the first instance of a shield, though. Someone tries to sit down after testing it, the shield blasts the chair away and they fall on their ass. Carl, write this down. We definitely need to change the way these fucking shields work, okay? Alright, that is everything, though, in the primary lore for now. So we'll be moving on to secondary here. I hope you all enjoyed that little lore dump. We will be doing more of these just as we learn more, but once we're on the ship, in between missions, we won't interrupt the flow of missions or anything like that. But yeah, now we're going to get into secondary, so our personal history summary, and a few other things here. So this isn't read out by an announcer, so I will be reading it out. Yay! Enjoy. So yeah, first thing here, our personal history summary, the background profile for Commander Shepard. You were raised on Mindwar, on the fringes of the Attican Traverse. When you were 16, the colony was raided by slavers. The entire settlement was razed and your friends and family were slaughtered. A passing Alliance patrol rescued you, but all you loved was destroyed. You enlisted with the Alliance military, joining the long and bloody campaign to rid the Skillian Verge of Batarian slavers and other criminal elements. The final battle came when Alliance forces laid siege to Torfan, a slaver base built miles below the surface of a desolate moon. The superiority of the human fleet was wasted in the assault on the underground bunker, but you led a corps of elite troops into the heart of the enemy base. Nearly 3/4 of your own squad perished in the vicious close quarter fighting, a cost you were willing to pay to make sure not a single slaver made it out of Torfan alive. Willing to get the job done at any cost, no matter the odds, no matter the loss. Can be a bad way to look at it though when you think about things, but hey, we got rid of the slavers! Whoa! Alright, Citadel and Galactic Government. Although the Citadel is equipped with Mass Effect generating Element Zero cores, most of the gravity on the station is generated by the centrifugal force of rotation. Rotation, 3.5 minutes per revolution. Rotational gravity in wards is 1.02 Earth gravity. Rotational gravity in the Presidium is 0.3 of Earth, so you'll feel very floaty there, I'd imagine. Total length when it's open is 44.7 kilometers. Diameter when open is 12.8 kilometers. Ward length 43.6 kilometers. This place is huge. Ward width 330 meters. Presidium ring diameter 7.2 kilometers. Presidium ring width 553 meters. Exterior armor thickness 13 meters. Population 13.2 million, not including keepers. It's like double the population of my country. Gross weight 7.11 billion metric tons. Ah, God, weight lift that easy. Height of the Presidium Tower is 1,047 meters. Damn, it's a big place. Humanity and the Systems Alliance. Alright, so we've got a timeline here. 2069. Armstrong Outpost at Shackleton Crater becomes the first human settlement on Luna, the moon. It is formally founded on July 24th, the 100th anniversary of the first lunar landing. 2103, Lowell City and Eos Chasma becomes the first human settlement on Mars. 2137, Eldfell Ashland Energy Corporation demonstrates helium-3 fuel extraction from the atmosphere of Saturn. 2142, construction of Gagarin Station Jump Zero begins beyond the orbit of Pluto. 2148, prospectors discover the Prothean ruins at Promethei Planum on Mars. 2149, translation of Prothean data leads humans to the Charon Mass Relay, Systems Alliance founded to coordinate exploration and colonization of extrasolar worlds. 2151, a shipping accident at Singapore International Spaceport exposes downwind communities to containers of dust form element zero. Alliance begins construction of Arcturus Station. 2152. Roughly 30% of the children born in Singapore after Element Zero exposure suffer from cancerous growths. Systems Alliance begins settlements of Earth's first extrasolar colony, the planet Demeter. 2154. Commander Shepard is bored! Woo! 2155. Systems Alliance occupies completed portions of Arcturus Station as a headquarters. 2156. Some children of Singapore exhibit minor telekinetic abilities. 2157. Turians encounter human explorers. First Contact War. Occupation and liberation of the human colony of Shang-Chi. 2158. Humans learn potential of biotics. An international effort to track Element Zero exposures begins. Roughly 10% of exposed children show some level of biotic ability. 2160. Systems Alliance Parliament is formed. 2165. Humans establish embassy on the Citadel. 2170. Turian slavers attack the colony on Mindwar. 2176. The Skillian Blitz. Pirates and slavers attacked Elysium, the human capital, in the Skillian Verge. 2177. Thresher Maws devour the Alliance, a colony of Akuz. 2178. In retaliation for the Skillian Blitz, an Alliance fleet wipes out an army of slavers on the moon of Torfan. And now we come to 2183, current date. So, 5 years prior is when we led that mission in Torfan that got us a bit of infamy. Gotcha. Quite a timeline so far. Ships and vehicles. Starship sensors. Light lag prevents sensing in real time at great distances. A ship firing its thrusters at the Charon Relay can easily be detected from Earth 5.75 light hours, which is 6 billion kilometers away. But Earth will only see the event 5 hours and 45 minutes after it occurs, due to the light speed limit. Defenders can't see enemies coming until they have already arrived, because there is FTL travel and communications, but no FTL sensors. Frigates are crucial for scouting and picket duties. Passive sensors are used for long-range detection, while active sensors obtain short-range, high-quality targeting data. Passive sensors include visual, thermographic, and radio detectors that watch and listen for objects in space. A powered ship emits a great deal of energy. The heat of the life support systems, the radiation given off by power plants and electrical equipment, the exhausts of the thrusters. Starship stands out plainly against the near absolute zero background of space. Passive sensors can be used during FTL travel, but incoming data is significantly distorted by the effects of the Mass Effect envelope and Doppler shift. Active sensors are radars and high-resolution LiDARs, laser detection and ranging. I wonder if that A is meant to be capital. That emit a ping of energy and listen for return signals. LiDARs have a narrower field of view than radar, but LiDAR resolution allows images of detected objects to be assembled. Active sensors are useless when a ship is moving at FTL speeds. So it's basically a way of preemptively knowing when FTL things are coming at you is when you use LiDAR instead of radar. It's interesting. Technology. The everyday pieces of technology that support the modern lifestyle. Biotic amps. Biotics manipulate Mass Effect fields using dozens of Element Zero nodules within their nervous systems that react to electric stimuli from the brain. Amplifiers allow biotics to synchronize the nodules so that they can form fields large and strong enough for practical use. Amplifiers can improve a specific discipline or talent. An implant is a surgically embedded interface port into which amps are plugged in on humans. On humans, the implant is usually placed at the base of the skull for convenient access. Oh, that's great. Though the user must be careful to keep it free of contaminants. Oh, God. Implant ports can fit a variety of amps, and there is a growing market for modifications and add-ons. The finest quality implants and amps are manufactured by Asari artisans, but the Alliance's L3 implants, first deployed in 2170, are a significant step forward. Considering the Asari, that's the first reference we've actually had to the race of the Asari. The Asari are basically the biotics of the galaxy. They are the best wielders of it. So to see that the L3 stuff that humanity is producing is a good step forward is something to see. Final thing to read up on here so far: weapons, armor, and equipment upgrades. The development of practical manufacturing omni-tools allows modern militaries a great deal of flexibility in equipment loadouts. A vast number of field modification kits or upgrades are available for common equipment such as weapons, armor, omni-tools, biotic amps, and even grenades. An upgrade kit typically consists of less than a dozen unique parts and an optical storage disk. When loaded into an omni-tool, the OSD provides all technical specifications required to manufacture the tools and additional parts necessary to install the upgrade onto another piece of equipment. Assembly is typically modular, and installation can be completed in less than a minute. Quick and easy to do. Since omni-tools are designed to use common battlefield salvage materials such as plastics, ceramics, and light metals, rendered into semi-molten omni-gel for quick use, it is quite possible for a trained soldier carrying upgrade kits to customize gear on the battlefield to fit the current tactical situation. Basically allows for a soldier, in a battle situation, a soldier to adapt to any sort of situation if they've got the Omnigel on hand. But with the Omnigel being easily produced from all things that you can commonly find on a battlefield, it works out extremely well. But hey, lore dump complete! Ding 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 ding! Our first lore dump complete. We've also got our journal here. The beacon on Eden Prime was destroyed. Before it self-destructed, it burned horrific images of death and galactic destruction into your mind. Whether these are images of the past or warnings of the future, you can't really say. That was a read. Let's actually quickly check out our locker here. Oh! Take everything there. Nice. Okay. And what we'll do here is we'll take a wee walk up onto the bridge here. Because we'll end the part here before we move on to the Citadel. The Citadel will be a wee teaser for you all for next part. But I will bring us up to here because I love this view. We can't actually access this yet, I don't think. Nah, only the commanding officer may specify a destination. But this will bring our lore part 3 to a close. Nice little view there to round us out though of the galaxy map. Next time, we will be traveling to the galactic hub, the Citadel, to try and convince the Galactic Council of Sauron's wrongdoings. Will they listen to us? Who knows? Who knows? But thank you all so much for coming in. Hopefully you enjoyed this lore part. If you did, please leave a like. If you're brand new, please consider subscribing. Socials are also on the channel. Thank you all so much for stopping by. And yeah, we'll see you in part 4. I swear, I'll get better at doing these outros and intros as time goes on. But thank you.